Big Market Debate powered by Investonomics, an initiative by ICICI Direct. Joining me today is Mr. Raja Venkataraman, co-founder Neo Traders, and he's a trading influencer also. Mr. Milan Sharma, MD Rivergate Capital. Welcome, Milan. Welcome, Raja.
Yeah. Thank you, Vitu, for inviting us to the show. And it's a great privilege to be part of the show. And I've seen the other videos as well. So it's a nice initiative, and I'm happy to connect with you on discussing about whatever is it about the markets and share my views.
Our pleasure, sir. My first question would be for Milan. Milan, now the markets are at all-time high. Nifty conquered 16,500, and Sensex is above 55,000 levels. What are your thoughts on the quarter one numbers? Large caps are coming back in a big way. Can we say the worst is behind us and we are on the roads of sharp recovery with the interest coming back towards large caps?
See, I will put it this way, when you say that worse is behind us, definitely, when we talk of worse in terms of the COVID, and then we have to keep in mind the third wave kind of thing. But even if assuming that, it is third wave also, then also I'll think because going forward from here, from there, I think more or less, things have been taken care of because it is not about the COVID. COVID started somewhere in 2020. But the economy had been really under pressure from way long, the DMON, GST, and a lot of other things. From last 8-10 years, you haven't seen any kind of real progress in coming in. So everywhere, there was stress. And then before that, in proper terms of 2010 and all, the power stress and all. So that way is definitely worse is behind us. I will say not from the COVID perspective. I'll say, but because the economy has seen so much, in last almost a decade now, things have really not moved up. So ultimately, there's a limit to it, and now the cycles have started moving up, and there are green shoots coming up in sectors like real estate. Even Infra is always out there. Companies are bigger companies, the larger companies. They are coming out with capex. See, I'm hearing about this capex maybe around 7 or 8 years. Nobody was talking about capex. A couple of years back, nobody was talking capex. This first time they're hearing in the management commentary, in the AGMs and all. We are seeing this kind of euphorism, or you kind of some optimism out there. So that way, definitely you can say that kind of worse is banned. I don't think we're going to see that kind of the lower levels of the markets or in terms of the economy. Things are moving better only. Definitely, I am of the view that going forward from here, some objections will be there. Definitely, just might be there, but overall, things will not be that bad as they have been in last a decade or so.
Raja, what's your on Nifty and Bank Nifty charts? What are they indicating? I know they are for Nifty, it's an uncharted territory. But what do levels and technical tools say about the levels that we can foresee in near future?
Yeah. So the way I'm looking at the overall indices, they are going through a phases of consolidation, and one of the primary reasons have been the hesitation of people to participate at higher levels. So in June and July, there was quite a bit of skepticism about 16,000 being exceeded. There were different kind of environmental situations, but Nifty managed to overcome that. So what is clearly evident is that the way the markets are behaving, it is clearly different from what is happening at the ground level. So overall prospects of the Nifty continues to remain bullish. It has reached an important price point at 16,500, and I would wait for the 16,600 level to be crossed. Otherwise, any dips in Nifty should be bought into. But what is interesting is the move in the Nifty IT space, where it has actually been leading from the front. The Nifty IT index, some of us have been quite prominent about it, and you can see that the Nifty IT index is actually helping the Nifty and Bank Nifty to sustain. So considering all the three indices, say Nifty, Nifty IT and Bank Nifty has been more of a laggard. Bank Nifty has been able to cross the important threshold at 36,000, but it has not been able to make a case out of it. So what I reckon is both the Nifty and Bank Nifty could take a pause, and the next week could be the week of Bank Nifty. And I could definitely see with the IIP and inflation numbers also coming through, and the RBI policy also being over, So all these things will start getting factored into the system, and we could see a good run in Bank Nifty, and that is something which the viewers should track in the coming week.
Milan, do you see rising input cost as a cause of concern right now, as there's a possibility of margin pressure for most of, many of the companies, like for example, autos. So will the concern, play out as far as the input cost is concerned?
The concern is definitely there because the steel prices have moved up, 3 to 4 times. Same the cement and all. Definitely input prices gone up, and this is going to impact and all kind of raw material, not only cement and steel, all other raw materials as well. But it depends upon how whether this cost inflation will be passed on to the end consumer, and how will that add to the inflation thing. Those things need to be seen. But I think the commodity prices might soften also a little bit going forward. So that might there might be some kind of adjustment as well, because the way we have seen, because maybe the pent up demands or the challenges and all, it all led to too much prices inflated for the core raw material. So you will see prices of definitely some impact you will see in the real estate sector as well. You'll see the prices of flats going up. It won't be possible for the real builders to give the same quality constructions at the price which they have booked there. So getting that into coming back to your question that whether this will bound to impact, definitely it will impact, but I think this will be passed on to the end consumer. I think things will plan out. Something it will be a mix of both. Some prices will cool down because I don't think this kind of price movement is possible where these prices have moved up by 3 times see in last 1 year. So that kind of I don't see that kind of movement continuing. So some softening will happen there, and something will be passed on. So overall it will be mixed kind of thing. But I think it's not a important. It won't be that important, in the scheme of things. Things are looking up better. So I think they will move on from here.
One more question. When we talk about pricing power, the large companies have much more pricing power than the mid cap and the small cap companies.
Right. Yeah.
Will that lead to more switching towards large caps now?
See, again, it depends upon what kind of investor you are and what kind of value you're looking. Small cap become mid cap, and mid cap become large cap. If you're a long term investor, then this kind of cap doesn't matter. Ultimately, you have to pick up the right business at the right price. If having a long term horizon, maybe if you're looking for investment of 3 to 5 years or maybe beyond 5 years, then definitely it won't make much impact. But if you're looking in a short term kind of time, definitely I think the valuation gap, which had become too evident, between the large cap and mid cap. So that you see it's getting, it is coming down, and that is what you're seeing. And when large caps move, the Nifty start moving. So that is what we are seeing. 2 days back, whether it was a BSE circular or something else, but the main thing was too much of froth was out there in the mid cap and small cap. So these circular was just a reminder that things can go bad also. But the overall thing was that the way things have moved up in the small cap and mid cap, some kind of pause was necessary, and these kind of corrections, we'll keep on seeing going forward also. But yes, the large cap looks definitely desirable right now because the valuation has gone quite attractive.
Raja, you just spoke about the IT index leading the market higher. Now, in the IT space, which stock do you like the most? Because we saw TCS breaking out from the, now it's trading about 2018 levels. After so many years, we have seen it breaking about 3,400 levels. So what is your view on the IT, large caps and the mid caps and your top 5 picks?
Yeah. So I strongly believe that considering the way the whole environment is changing, the digital environment, the whole market is getting digital environment. Not only the market, the whole ecosystem is becoming digitalized. So I truly believe that the IT index would continue to grow. Plus, IT as a space has been quite insulated from various kinds of vagaries of the market. So the index should continue further, and yes, with the chances of the USD INR also bottoming out, the probability of the export-oriented, which is what the most of the IT companies are, the IT companies should continue to prosper. So that's why you're seeing a very stellar growth, especially a laggard like Tech Mahindra has now is now leading the charts, and now TCS also has come into the fray. So from the top space, I would truly believe that TCS continues to be the best pick from the large cap. And then my new favorite is Tech Mahindra, which I would definitely reckon as one of the IT major one should track. And from the L&T fold, they have got L&T Technology Services and L&T Infotech. So I would also recommend L&T Infotech at the current levels because it has given a nice consolidation move, and it has got prospects to move towards the space of 5,500 to 5,700 within the next 3 months. So it's based on the charts. There's a nice consolidation and a move which is seen on the higher time frame charts. With a 200-point stop loss, one could definitely reckon this as a good investment bet. And the large caps, I would, because of the large run which we have witnessed, I would advise to buy the large caps on a dip.
Milan, coming on to the financials, how do you see the financial space as of now? Slippages, mainly in the retail segment, has been a bit of concern for NBFCs and the smaller banks. But largely, how do you see this space panning out?
See, definitely challenges are there. We do feel that, the next 1 or 2 quarters will be deciding for the banks. But on one side, what the plus point which is happening with the big banks like HDFC and ICICI Bank and Axis Bank is that credit demand is picking up. The capex is coming back, and they are very strong. These banks now, these banks are very strong in the corporate side. So I think if some kind of retail challenges, the NP challenges come in, but with the growth which is coming in, I think they will be able to offset that kind of negativity. So it won't be that great. But yes, banks like IDFC First Bank, or mid cap bank like Federal Bank or DCB, and who are neither corporate heavy nor retail side very heavy, so they might have some kind of challenges because they do not have that kind of lever between them, to manage. And that is what we are seeing. We saw the results of DCB, the entire profit being written off because of the extra provisions. And we did not see this case in ICICI Bank or Axis Bank because they had the lever of moving out to corporate side, and they have been very strong in that, and there the incomes are higher. And because the balance sheet, and if you have to look at the balance sheet size of these two banks, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, or three banks, so they are in a better position to take on these challenges because the COVID, what has given is the unemployment, people have lost their job. See, the distress is more on the retail side. It's not on the corporate side. The corporates have survived and they have learned to survive now, and going forward, things will get better only for them. So demand is there, demand will also pick up time. But banks which are totally dependent upon, the consumer durables, consumer durable loans, or your auto loans kind of thing, or retail personal loan, retail-centric loan, banks I'm talking about, and they are typically the mid-tier kind of banks, as DCB and Federal Banks. They might have some challenges. Even the IDFC First Bank might have some challenges because IDFC Bank first was into before the merger, it was more of a corporate bank because of the IDFC side, right? Now they were wanting to shift gears to move to the retail side, but again the COVID thing came in, so it has been bad luck for them on the both sides. The corporate, when things started picking up, you're not there to take the advantage of that. And retail side, you're trying to get into, and that has become a challenge. So you have to be very specific, but overall opportunities there, both for the NBFC as for the banks. It's because when the economy turns around, as we all are expecting, things will look better only. So definitely banks will participate, NBFC and banks will participate, and there will be huge opportunity for all kind of banks. But depends, who can take what kind of advantage, depending on what kind of distribution network they have, what kind of cost of capital access they have. All these things will decide, where to take. So I cannot really comment on general give it. It will have to be stock specific, But if you ask me that if someone can look at them, definitely bank like ICICI Bank and Axis Bank at the current valuation, they look quite attractive. One can look at.
Anything you like
in the mid-size?
In the PSU space, yeah.
In the PS space, it's better to stick with SBI, because again, say the other banks, the merger issue, as you all know, that a lot of banks were merged together. So all that those issues will remain for some time, before the clear picture emerges out on the cost of funding side or on the opportunity side. So it's better, if looking somewhere at PSU side, then why not to go with the best, go with SBI. The valuations are attractive there as well.
Right. Raja, three stocks that people really want to know about is one, Reliance, which is not breaking out about 2000 levels. Second, ITC, which is in a consolidation phase, and every news story is coming, but this stock is not reacting at all. And Bharti Airtel, which has seen a good run up, in last 1 month. So, what is your view on all these three charts?
All right. So let's begin with the crowd's favorite, ITC. So ITC has been the crowd's favorite, and we have been trying to find some value proposition in ITC. But then when you take a look at the overall chart structure, it has been unable to actually move above the 240. So basically around 240 to 200, it's become like a zone beyond which it's not able to move ahead. And one of the primary reasons has been its internal structuring and the way the whole company is designed, and it's heavily dependent on the kind of structure, and it's depending on the revenues which are generated from its cigarette area. And yes, it is trying to reduce the dependency, but then that's not helping it. And as a result, many FIIs are unwilling to invest in the stock. So the combined reasoning is actually preventing this stock to go up. So this being somewhat of a news base or some fundamental approaches, when you put it on the charts, you see that the stock is undergoing a major consolidation. So now if the prices were to revive, it has to go above the 240 zone, which is a very, very important resistance area for the same. So I would say that the first level to cross for ITC would be around 220, and then the next challenge would be 240. So unless and until that happens, you are not going to see much light in ITC. And at the same time, on the downside, 200 seems to be a very strong support area. So basically, it is stuck in a range, and I would definitely not advise entering ITC at the moment. Now coming to the other favorite, which is Reliance. So Reliance has been the crowd's favorite once again, but unlike ITC, there has been a very good move seen in Reliance in 2020 when the whole market recovered and saw a very decent amount of move, right? Because the move was quite significant. It moved all the way from 800 to 2300. After that, the stock is undergoing some consolidation, and this consolidation is good in a way because the stock is also able to rethink on its future prospects. As we all know now, Reliance is heavily dependent on the geo factor. You can see on the charts that there is some constant development being happening, and there are also infusions of foreign investments. So the overall prospects of Reliance continues to be positive, and it is a very, very good bet at the current levels. And one could actually add on if it moves about 2260, because the prospects of moving towards 3000 is very much on the cards. And now if we are expecting the markets to scale 17,000, I am a bit optimistic here. So you would need the big boy Reliance to step in, because others have shown their colors. Now it's time for Reliance to step in. So that's what I look at the Reliance charts as of now. And Bharti Airtel, well, there are only two players left on the telecom play who are really calling the shots right now. One is you, and of course it's Bharti. And the constant improvement in their numbers is definitely something benefiting the Bharti share prices as well. And you can see that post its recent results, it has also managed to give a new high. And in the process, it has given a very good breakout above the 600 mark. And it clearly signals that there is possibility of moving towards 700. So Bharti is a good bet. So between the three stocks, ITC is an avoid. Reliance is continuing to invest in small parcels till it moves about 2260. And Bharti is a definite buy. So probability of moving towards the level of 700 is very high in Bharti. Reliance will be a slow mover, and ITC, of course, I've already mentioned. So that's how these three stocks are placed at the current moment.
Milind, the sectors that you are overweight now, because the sectors that you think will lead the markets higher from the current levels in, say, next 4 to 5 years.
See, one definitely, as we discussed about the infra space, so capital expenditure has gone with there. So the companies, right from L&T to IRBs of the world, all of them should do well. And as you see, if you look at any of their, because the what you can say, the contracts and all, if you look at the balance sheet side, so all of these, the capex heavy companies, these companies in the infra space, they are our topics. And then the other sector which comes beside infra, the other sector which comes to mind is the industrials. The industrials like Thermax, and even you can talk about companies like Grade also. I think you will see a lot of revival coming in this space as well. So infrastructure being one, then your industrial being the other one. So banks will come in, because definitely the entire thing cannot do without banks. So, but it's still 2 quarters away, I'll say. But for now, if someone is looking for value bank, one should get into space like the infra space and the industrial side. So these two sectors, and if someone is a real-term, long-term investor, maybe 5 years plus kind of horizon, definitely defense. Companies like Hindustan Aeronautics, your BDL and all, they do phenomenally well because the fundamental shift which has been now in the entire functioning of these all the PSU defense side I'm talking about, because all are PSUs only. So you can look at them, but the horizon has to be more than 5 years, But definitely, the companies can be a multi-bagger kind of thing. I will not be surprised the turnover goes to, and many times, from what we are seeing at the current level. So next 10 years can be turning around, because recently I happened to attend a defense event in Bangalore also last year. So there also, the way the things are planned up for the entire sector, I think it gives you a lot of confidence, it gives you a lot of optimism going forward, because the contracts are very long-term contracts. The product cycle is very long for these companies, so you have to be a long-term investor. It will not be overnight. So things have definitely started moving up in the right direction. They're moving up, I can assure you. So if somebody is going to bet, one sector which comes to mind for long term is defense. So infrastructure, industrial, and defense would be the sector-wise for last.
Milan, anything in the consumer discretionary space which has seen quite a bit of momentum lately?
See, discussions, I will say that, we're not quite excited about it, but overall, it will be a normal kind of growth you can see, but definitely not on books. We're not looking at it right now.
Raja, anything you like in the FMCG space right now?
Yeah, the FMCG space definitely is looking quite positive. And I would say that the setup seen in Titan is quite interesting, because it has gone through a consolidation, and it's again moving in phases. So Titan would be one definite recommendation from my side, because the overall prospects of Titan are much positive, and you can look to invest in current levels. And if you're also looking, you should be looking it in two parcels. You should be looking to invest at the current levels and also look on a decline. Why I am recommending a two-part approach is because of the extent of moves which we are seeing right now. So one should be looking to invest at current levels around 1830, and also look at dips in the region of 1775, and keep a stop at 1750 for an upside within the next 1 month towards 2000, because that's very much possible, as the overall move is quite good. We are entering a festive zone. The consumerism is picking up, and all these could definitely add some color to the Titan charts.
Milan, what is your advice to the investors on the mid-cap and the small-cap space front? We saw a bit of correction, last week and this week also. So what is your view? Should one be a buyer on dips?
See, it is very difficult, for a retail investor or investor with not having enough expertise or enough knowledge about the market, So this is a very difficult space, small cap, mid cap. See, for banks, for a stock like HDFC Bank, anyone can give advice. You both buy HDFC Bank, because things are more than clear. Leadership in the bank sector, no problem, NP and all. It's much more easier. But when it comes to identifying opportunities in mid cap and small cap, it is a very, very difficult task. So I will say that this kind of dips and corrections, they will definitely keep on coming. But unless you know your space, unless you know what you're looking at for them from that mid cap and small cap, it's very difficult. So I'll really say the way things have moved up in last 1 year, 1.5 years in the mid cap small cap, it has made it more difficult. Stocks have moved by 5 to 6 times. So how do you do it? The value has not gone change so much. You can still say that the value is there, or you can debate on that. But for retail investors, one thing is very important, that if you are looking at this space, then definitely go through some kind of, some expert advice, or do your own homework quite well, study in depth, you should have understanding of the balance sheet, the sector. All that analysis becomes very, very important for the mid cap and small cap space, especially the small cap space. Mid cap, even then you get some information out there. But for the small cap, if you're trying to venture into that, the risk and reward both are very, very high. So that one has to keep in mind. Yeah.
You like him?
See, if you talk specifically in mid-cap space, the ideas, the stocks like KPIT in the IT space, or Zensar Technology in the IT space, we have been tracking and investing into these two companies from the IT mid-cap. Likewise, you have a bank like Catholic Syrian Bank in a small mid-cap space. From the banking side also, we have one pick where the fundamental shift is taking place in the entire business model being revamped. The private players are there. So we have an understanding of that. We believe the management, So that way, you can say Catholic Syrian Bank is a pick out there, and then as KPIT and your Zensar Technologies, just to name a few.
Raja, do you like anything in the auto space?
Yeah, the auto space is something which is ifing and brewing some bit of sentiment there. But today, the scrappage policy was announced, so probably that could start influencing some trends out there. And out of these setups which are being seen there, most of the stocks are indicating some bit of hesitation to go up.
Right.
So at the moment, I would give auto a skip, but yes, you can take stocks like Escorts and Hero MotoCorps, which have come out with some decent numbers. If they are able to participate in the next few days, those are the stocks which I would be tracking.
Milan, your advice to the first timers who enter the market?
See, advisable to either you go because it's a very, very complicated market. It's not that easy. The way things are moving, the way because it's knowledge-based market now. So first advice is that study very well which sector company you're taking. Be specific about what you're looking at. Your investment horizon has to be very, very clear. Don't try to become shifting gears from becoming an investor 1 year to one day. Turning out between things. So that kind of thing should be avoided. But yes, opportunities out there because as an asset class, equity worldwide has given returns far better than all the asset classes together. So that one that I will always say that this gives a lot of opportunity. There are a lot of pockets which are a lot of values there, companies, sectors, everything is there. But you have to identify that very well. You have to do where do you want to and then plan well. Take help from advisor, or if you want to do on your own, then study well, understand the balance sheet, understand the sector very well, and then make a decision on it. So my advice would be that don't jump into it. Don't go by the tips and the kind of and even because our country is known for this. Anyone can give you advice. Right from the medical side to buy only stock market. You talk of the medical science. People are there with the advice. They're always ready with the advice. So avoid that. Do your own homework, and then you are good to go.
Raja, you are a coach. So what will your advice be for the first timers who enter the market with the hope of making big money?
Yeah, Milind, my colleague Milind rightly said, knowledge is very critical here because everyone is thinking of scale, which is to make more money, but then they forget in the pursuit about skill. And market, just like any other field, you got to raise your skill level. Unless and until you raise your skill level, it's going to be the same. Like everyone is willing to go through the grind, be it their education, graduation, post graduation. But then when it comes to the market, people want to open an account and start trading immediately, and they expect that market to reward them. So what will be my advice to all the young people out there is, yes, there are a host of opportunities out there. Crypto is bursting, the gold markets are, the commodities markets are bursting. There are so many asset classes which are available, but then they are avenues which will be there forever. The most important question is whether will you be there to participate, to ensure that you sustain this momentum, you sustain the movement, and enjoy the process of making money. Spend time in learning. And what I mean by learning is go through structured learning. Unless and until you go through a structured learning, you will always have challenges. So my advice will be go through some structured learning process, enhance yourself, raise your skill set, and the markets are always there for you to make your share of money.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Raja, for your time. It was a pleasure speaking with both of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Geeta.